Hey everyone, thank you very much for joining me in the Wealth through Real Estate School community. Once again, my name is Michael Manatskanian, and we'll say, the coach for our community. Um, so overall, what we're going to talk about in this series is these are our topic specific series. We're going to once a week, we're going to be talking about different specific topics that will help you generate wealth through real estate, starting with some of the most foundational stuff and then leading into the very end goal for most people, which is buy and hold real estate investing. So holding assets long term and allowing all the great benefits of real estate to accumulate. So what we're going to focus on this month is the overall topic is pretty straightforward. It is different ways to generate wealth through real estate. Today, we're primarily going to focus on just a high level overview of what we're going to cover. And then each of these weeks for the month of June, we're going to go over flipping and wholesaling as the start. Then we're going to go into lending capital. Then we're going to go into buying real estate and the benefits and how to do that. And then we're going to go into connecting. So either being a capital raiser or a bird dog for very specific deals that your end buyers are looking for. So let's get right into it. So the reason why we're going to touch base on fixing and flipping and wholesaling first is because they are, I would say, great starter strategies. There's a ton of money to be made in wholesaling and fixing and flipping, but a lot of that income is what we call active income. Fixing and flipping and wholesaling does not generate you passive income. You have to continue fixing and flipping or wholesaling to continue generating income. The smartest investors are leveraging that active income to then buy real estate and then generate the passive income they're looking for, because that's how you truly achieve financial independence. You need to take active income, put it into assets that you own, and then you generate the monthly, let's say in this instance for real estate, the monthly cash flow that then covers your current expenses. And that is when you achieve financial independence. So that is the ultimate goal. But there's various ways to get active income. And for me personally, I'd much rather lend to generate active income. I have, W-2 income. I have additional income streams that I then utilize to buy real estate. And to be honest with you, when I buy real estate, I'm primarily using the money of lenders or other people's money. So private money lenders, private money partners. And so I don't even really need my own funds. And with my funds, I lend them out to other investors, which we'll talk about. So what is wholesaling? So that very basic premise of wholesaling is you are finding a property or a seller that is in distress who needs to sell their property, typically for cents on the dollar, somewhere between, well, there's no exact rule, but you can't buy it too expensive, because what your goal is to do is put that property under contract for either a fix and flipper or a buy and hold investor to buy it and then generate the returns that they're looking for. And because they're able to generate the returns that they're looking for, they're going to pay you an assignment fee for putting that contract together. So the idea is you're just finding sellers, putting them under contract at good prices or good terms, and then you are selling that to an end buyer who's either going to flip it or they're going to buy and hold, and they're going to own that asset. There's more nuance to it, but the goal is you're locking up great deals and then selling them to someone else, and you're getting paid on that. Average assignment fees for cash, I'd say on the lower end, it's around $10,000 for when you have a buyer who's buying your properties like a cash investment. 10,000 upwards to really 100,000+. It really depends. The most I've ever gotten on one assignment fee was around $60,000, and that is because the goal is to buy your property. The cheaper you're able to buy it from the seller, the spread between the after repair value or what it will be worth once it's all fixed and flipped, and the price that you lock it in at, plus the rehab costs, that's really what generates your assignment fee. That really what dictates how good of a assignment fee you're going to get on that deal. So it's really the spread between the after repair value, the value of the property once it's fully renovated and ready for sale, minus the rehab costs, minus the actual cost to acquire the contract or to buy the property. For the end buyer, they're going to have to include your assignment fee in there, so you're included in that value, and then any carrying costs. So typically, most people do not have cash when they're buying these deals. They're leveraging someone else's money, and that money costs something. Typically, they're using a hard money lender, maybe private money lenders like we use. Maybe they're going through some kind of bank financing. So there's a variety of options. We have to account for those costs as well when you're trying to fix and flip a property. The reason why most people get into wholesaling is because theoretically the cost of entry is fairly low. I say that's a little disingenuous because there are ways to be able to wholesale properties with literally $0 out of your pocket, but they will take a lot of your time. And typically the best wholesalers are the ones who get the best leads. They're able to find the best sellers. So typically the wholesalers that end up getting the So in my world, there's wholesalers that not only lock up deals that are purchased for cash buyers, primarily, to fix and flip. That's typically when a property is put under contract for a cash buyer, because they're going to invest the money to buy it, renovate it, and then flip it and make a profit, but also creatively financed wholesale deals. So typically those can still be fix and flips. Those can be buy and hold investments. So that, it depends on which route you're looking for, and it really depends overall on what the motivation of the seller is. And do they have debt in place? Do they not? How much do they have? So it's a lot of nuance in there. This is by no means going to be a wholesaling community or anything like that. We love our wholesalers. We want to buy deals from our wholesalers, but what we're going to focus on is the lending, the buying, and even the negotiating with wholesaler piece, but not necessarily how to wholesale. There's plenty of great people out there that'll teach you how to do that. Not me. And to be honest with you, I've wholesaled dozens of deals, close to 100, made a ton in assignment fees. We don't even get into the details about it. And it's a great way to start out, and it's a great way to learn and pick up skill sets, especially how to negotiate with sellers. But it's just not the end all be all. And for me, I prefer to get my active income through other sources. So that is, I think, enough for wholesaling. Overall, high level concept: lock up a great deal and sell it to someone else who's willing to pay you X amount of money, let's say $10,000 for that contract that you have, whether they're a fix and flipper or they are So to quickly summarize, basically what a wholesaler does is they are putting together a great deal. They're putting it under contract, whether they're buying it at a massive discount or they're putting it under terms that would make a great sense for a buy and hold investor. They're putting a great deal under contract and then selling it to an end buyer, whether the end buyer is looking to fix and flip the property, hold it as a rental, whatever their goal is. There needs to be a spread between what the property could go for, the value that it adds, and how much it costs to acquire that property. And that's how the wholesaler gets paid. As I mentioned, I think there's better ways to generate active income, but it is a great one. Teaches you a lot about real estate, negotiating, all that good stuff. Plenty of people out there teaching you how to wholesale. Go do that. That's awesome. So next is fix and flipping. And I fix and flip. I have a few fix and flips active going on now. I do, done maybe a dozen fix and flips over the last couple of years. It's a great way to get larger sums of income on specific properties. But the reason why I don't like it is because there's a lot of variables. A lot of external factors control the results of your fix and flip. I have benefit from that, and I know plenty of people who have lost a lot of money because of that. Primarily the market shifting so drastically. For example, interest rates, volume and activity. So there are a ton of variables that affect fixing and flipping. For example, when interest rates went up, that means for the most part, prices started going down for property. So maybe you projected to sell a property for 300,000, but now you can only sell it for 280 or 270 or 260, or there's less buyers competing. Interest rates have a big factor into it. I mean, I guess I'll say that because it slows down the market, slows down the number of people that are looking to buy deals, which then affects purchase price, which affects a lot of things. But there's also times where you benefit massively. For example, if you bought properties in 2020, 2021, you were able to renovate it, improve it, and not only were you able to improve it and sell it at a higher value because of your improvements, but the market just went up like insanely. So 20, 30, 40% plus, depending on the market you were in. So you benefited from that. And I definitely benefited from several flips that ended up working out really, really well, way better than originally projected, because the market overall was depreciating so quickly. So fix and flipping, the goal is to buy a property at a discount. You need to buy it significantly less than the after repair value. You're going to put money into renovating the property, and then you are going to sell it at or close to the after repair value, and you make the difference between the two. So, you buy a home for $200,000 and it would sell for $300,000. You put in 25, that's a terrible example. Let's do another one. Let's do one with a bigger spread. You buy a property for $200,000, it would sell for $400,000 once it's fully renovated. You put $100,000 into renovating it, then you're generating the difference once you sell it. So 400,000 minus the 200 minus the 100 to renovate it is $100,000 difference. However, there's a lot of fees. There's fees when you bought the property. There's fees for the money that you're utilizing to the money you're utilizing from others to be able to buy the property and cover the rehab. There's fees when you sell the property. There's a lot of expenses that go into it. That's more than just the ARV, after repair value, minus the sale price. So there's a lot more to it than just subtracting the after repair value minus the purchase price minus the rehab costs, right? In that scenario, 400,000 minus 300 or minus 200 minus 100 leaves you with $100,000 of profit. But once you start accounting for the closing costs to buy the property, to sell the property, the carrying costs, all of these things start really whittling away on your income. So a deal that looks maybe good on paper ends up being a lot worse if you didn't analyze it really correctly and thoroughly. And if rehab isn't very common one that ends up going over budget quite often or takes longer, which then affects your rehab budget, right? That's increased from 100,000 now 120, 130, $150,000. Plus every month the property's sitting there, you're still paying for the house itself, you're paying for the debt, you're paying all of these costs that are eating away into whatever profit you had. So fixing it and flipping is a great way to generate a lot of active income at once, but understand there's a lot of risk associated with it because there's so many variables. Some of them are totally out of your control too. We don't need to get into all the weeds. Once again, there is plenty of people that are talking about how to fix and flip really well, give you their checklist, due diligence, all that good stuff. But once again, for me, I think there's better ways to generate active income, which are primarily through lending and, various other ways. But I think lending is the most straightforward path, and you can do it with your own capital or someone else's. And that's what we'll be focusing on in the next part of this series, ways to generate wealth through, that's what we'll be focusing on the next part of the series, ways to generate wealth through real estate. As I mentioned, we have wholesaling and flipping, transactional lending, which is more like short-term lending, general lending, like a private money lender or private money partner, and then we'll finish off with buy and hold investing, and why I think a combination of being a lender and a buy and hold investor is the most effective way to really build a large portfolio. But even then, I think we all get confused or see people who have thousands of properties. You don't need thousands of properties. Let's say your property is generating you $3,000 a month in rental income. If you need $15,000 a month of that's like your expenses to have a good life, you only need 5 paid off properties to generate that $15,000 a month of recurring cash flow, which covers your lifestyle. So you don't need to have hundreds, thousands, even dozens of properties. Just a handful of properties will help you achieve financial independence fairly quickly. But even then, let's say you have 1 or 2 properties. In this instance, fully paid off, right? I love leverage and debt. But in this instance, 2 fully paid off properties, wouldn't $3,000 or $6,000 definitely benefit you that you just have access to this additional cash flow? You can reinvest with it. You can utilize it to cover part of your life. You can do whatever you want. So the goal is to generate that cash flow that allows you to utilize those expenses or utilize that income to offset your living expenses or to reinvest with. And then there's so many other benefits to buy and hold investing. If we are focusing on active income, especially for those that are looking to replace their job as soon as possible, buy and hold investing is not a very quick way to do that. The cash flow takes time to really start building up, and all the other benefits of real estate don't really help you leave your job anytime soon. But that's where wholesaling and fix and flipping can do that. Or in my opinion, lending or being a connector, connecting, raising capital for deals or finding great deals and underwriting them for an end buyer. Those are, in my opinion, better ways to generate that active income you need, plus the skill sets associated with them, tie in much better, in my opinion, to a buy and hold investor. So we're coming near the end for the wholesaling and flipping side of generating wealth through real estate. Once we finish this month's topics, the next months are lending, buying, and connecting. So we'll go really into the weeds of what that looks like and how to generate wealth through all those different areas over the next next few weeks and months. So thank you for stopping by today, and I will see you next week where we'll dive in more into how to leverage lending, especially transactional lending, to replace the active income that we just talked about in regards to either your W-2 or wholesaling and flipping. Bye. Bye.